You don't play over 4,000 gigs without learning a few things. Mostly how to keep smiling when someone leans in with a breath hot enough to melt your capo and yells, "Play Wonderwall!" for the 7th time that night. But after so many shows, I can honestly say I've seen it all. Empty bars, packed dance floors, power carts, fights with hecklers, and weddings that ended with the groom asleep under the dessert table before the speeches. And somehow I'm still doing it. You don't survive that many gigs by being lucky. You survive because you learn, usually the hard way, what actually matters. So if you've ever wanted to make money playing music, this video is basically the cheat code to skipping the first decade of pain, confusion, and questionable decisions. Because I've made every mistake there is, and now I get paid to talk about them. Before we jump in, do me a favour, hit like, subscribe, turn on the bell, so you can pretend you're notified every time I upload. Apparently the algorithm still thinks I'm a maybe later kind of guy. But seriously, it helps the channel and stops the algorithm from treating me like a distant relative. Alright, let's get into it. Here's what 4,500 gigs have taught me and why I still haven't quit. Lesson 1. The gig always looks better in the promo. When a venue tells you it's a lively crowd who love music, what they actually mean is we've got two blokes called Gazza and Kev who clap on 1 and 3 and yell ACDC between coughing fits. I've played intimate rooms, which means you're performing in a room slightly larger than a broom cupboard with a pool table wedged into it. I've played upmarket places, which means they serve the chips in a basket instead of a bucket. And family friendly, well, that's code for toddlers treating your speaker stands like a jungle gym. After a while, you become fluent in venue speak. Relaxed crowd means drunk. Supportive crowd means they go wild when the footy comes on the TV behind you. Big night expected means there's a bingo game next door and they're hoping for overflow. Lesson 2, the audience doesn't care about your tone. Before I get into this, let me be clear. Tone is important. It matters to you. A great tone makes you play better, feel better, enjoy the gig more. It's like wearing a good outfit. You could technically perform in pajamas, but you'd rather not. But here's the reality check. You can spend hours sculpting the perfect stack of mids, highs, and creamy sustain. You can chase the exact YouTube-approved warm and sparkly tone, but it all evaporates the moment someone wheels out a bloody birthday cake. I've never seen a guitar solo win back a room from a chocolate mud cake with sparklers. People will clap harder for baked goods than they ever will for a tasteful D-chord inversion. Forget tone as your first priority. Timing and song choice are your actual superpowers. Play the right song, you're a genius. Play a deep John Mayer cut when the crowd wants rock. Suddenly your background noise they talk over while bloody queuing for cheesecake. Lesson 3. Confidence is everything. Just not the version you think. When I was younger, every mistake felt like a crime. Miss a chord? Think about it for a week. Botch a lyric? I'd replay it in my head like bloody CCTV footage. A fluff in the solo, straight into the shame Olympics. These days, I still make the mistakes. I just don't let them move in and set up a mortgage. Now I clock it, fix it when I get home and move on, because after thousands of gigs, I've learned something freeing. Nobody cares. The crowd's not thinking about your missed lyric. They're thinking about who's driving home, whether the kids are still awake or whether they can sneak another drink in before the tab closes. Your mistakes do not register in their memory. And weirdly, that's liberating. Once you realise no one's grading you, your nerves evaporate. You start enjoying the gig again, right? Play well, play honestly, but stop obsessing over strangers' opinions. They're not thinking about you. They're thinking about cake, parking, and whether the bathroom line is worth it. Once you accept that, you can breathe again. You play better, you enjoy the gig more, you stop performing at people and start performing with them. Lesson 4. Managing a band is a nightmare. At some point, every muso thinks, maybe I'll start a band. It'll make things easier. And then reality hits. Managing a band is like bloody herding cats. Musicians are creative, talented, and completely allergic to commitment. They'll agree to rehearse every week, then forget there's a gig until the night before. You'll spend months organising, rehearsing, sending set lists, backing tracks, and they'll show up asking, what key's that in again? You know, There's always one with an ego the size of a subwoofer. Another one disappears mid-gink. There's always one who believes sound check is a performance and won't stop soloing. Being in a band teaches you patience, diplomacy, and the art of pretending you're not furious while counting to 4. Honestly, the reason I went solo wasn't creative freedom, it was survival. Lesson 5. Weddings are equal parts magic and trauma. I've done over 700 of them. Every single one starts beautifully. The ceremony, the tears, the love, champagne. Then the best man forgets his speech, the flower girl steals the mic, and the bridesmaids yell their song requests like they're bidding at an auction. Then someone's uncle discovers the open bar and suddenly the dance floor turns into a battlefield of unresolved family history. As the soloist, you are Switzerland. Neutral, smiling, quietly judging. If you want the full behind-the-scenes horror show of why weddings can absolutely break your soul, go watch my earlier video where I unpack the whole circus in painful detail. Lesson 6. The best gigs aren't the biggest ones. Some of my best nights were in tiny pubs with 40 people who were actually there to have fun. No phones, no posting, just people singing badly and proudly. Then you do a giant corporate event. They pay you a fortune. But you're one tier above background music and one tier below the chocolate fountain. And after about 10 minutes, you realise you're basically the musical equivalent of a decorative plant. People walk past you, glance briefly to confirm you're real, then go back to discussing quarterly projections and who's getting promoted. There's always one who gives you a thumbs up from across the room with that look of sympathy on their face. You know, like they're reassuring a mate who definitely shouldn't have worn skinny jeans. Meanwhile, the tiny pub you played last Tuesday, that one had off-key sing-alongs, a bloke harmonising with the wrong song entirely, and a group of strangers hugging each other like they survived something together. Big gigs pay the bills. Small gigs remind you why you started doing this at all. Lesson 7. Every musician thinks their gear is the problem. I've spent years thinking, if I just get this next pedal, this next mic, that'll fix everything. Spoiler, it doesn't. I've bought enough equipment to open a small recording school, and still no one's ever come up to a gig and said, mate, that mid-range EQ tweak at 800 hertz, spiritual. People don't care what you're using, they just want to hear songs they know, played by someone who looks like they actually enjoyed being there. They care if you look like you're happy to be there. They care if they know the song. They care if you're fun. Now look, gear matters, sure. You got to make sure you're dialed in. But don't use it as an excuse or a crutch. The biggest upgrade you can make is you. Lesson 8. Over-prepare until the gig feels easy. Being good is fine. Being over-prepared is what makes the difference. Learn your songs until they're in your bones. Know your gear so well you could set it up in the dark with bloody oven mitts on. Practice the bits that scare you, not just the bits you're already good at. When something goes wrong on stage, and it always does, preparation is what saves you. Over-preparation gives you freedom. It's the difference between panicking and performing. It's what lets you recover gracefully, laugh off the chaos, and keep the night flowing, even when your gear is actively trying to betray you or you're just having a brain fart. Most people think confidence comes from talent. It doesn't. It comes from knowing that no matter what small mistakes you make are easily overcome because you know you can recover easily and with grace and even sometimes with humour. You can even turn mistakes into memorable recoveries like a real pro would. Over-prepare until nothing can rattle you. That's when the gig starts feeling easy and when it becomes enjoyable. Lesson 9. Humour is the cheat code to winning a crowd. Humour instantly makes people feel like you're on their level. You don't need a routine, you just need to be human. A silly line, a loose joke, a quick comeback, suddenly the whole room relaxes. If people laugh with you, they don't just like the music, they like you. They forgive mistakes. They sing louder, they stay longer, they remember the night. Good music makes a gig enjoyable, good humour makes it unforgettable. And if you want some quick lines to fire off when everything goes wrong on stage, go check out my video on witty comebacks and one-liners. Download the PDF. These things have saved more gigs than spare cables. Lesson 10. Relationships keep you in the game. You can be the best player in town, but if you're unreliable, late, rude, chaotic, your bookings will disappear faster than a sausage roll in a dog park. Simple as that. After around 4,500 gigs, I can tell you longevity isn't just about chops, it's about relationships. Venues rebook you because you make their life easier. Clients rehire you because you're reliable. Agents stick with musicians who show up prepared. And audiences keep coming back because you made them feel good. A bit of kindness, punctuality and gratitude goes further than any fancy chord substitution. Kindness beats chops. Professionalism beats shredding. Reliability beats a great guitar. And personality beats everything. Be the person people want back. If you build good relationships, you'll outlast the flavour of the month acts by a decade. Bonus lesson. Don't take yourself too seriously on stage. There's a fine line between professionalism and pretentiousness. You've got to take the music seriously, but never yourself. Crowds can smell pretension from the car park. If you act like you're auditioning for your own tribute act, they'll switch off. But if you're relaxed, laughing at the odd mistake, having fun with them instead of performing at them, you'll instantly become more likeable. You know, I've flubbed chords, dropped lyrics, tripped over cables, but if you can laugh at it sincerely and drop in some human humour, people are very forgiving. When you stop trying to prove you're perfect and start letting people in on the joke, the whole room relaxes with you. And ironically, that's when you actually relax and sound your best. Emergency bonus tip. Don't get angry on stage. Look, I've tried it recently, and let me tell you, nothing kills a vibe faster than the singer abandoning the bridge to negotiate a fist fight with a drunk bloke who thinks he's in the UFC. The crowd doesn't see a hero, they see a musician who just rage quit his own gig. Getting angry on stage never ends well. I caught a flying fist to the face like an enthusiastic goalkeeper mid-gig and somehow lost more gigs because of it. Apparently venues don't love booking a guy who turns a cover set into a live-action remake of Fight Club. If you want the full disaster breakdown, I'll link it in the video, or I explain the whole embarrassing saga in painful detail. So yeah, after enough gigs to bury a caravan under set lists, here's what I know. Play the crowd, not the set list. Be professional, but don't take yourself too seriously. Always have spares, because Murphy's Law has perfect pitch. And never underestimate a well-timed joke, because in this job, if you're not laughing, you're crying. Probably while packing down in the rain. We'll see you in the next one. I'll be the guy at 1 a.m. convincing himself that tomorrow's upload is the one that finally goes viral. What are you gonna do?